Yo, what's happening? So, obviously in the last episode, you knew that I was going off to find out the results of the MRI. Not great news, but not the worst, if I'm honest. So, the crap news is that this is not going to go away for the rest of my life. And there's not really much they can do about it. However, because I saw a bit of improvement with some shockwave therapy, they booked me in for more shockwave therapy to try and break down the calcium, but also they're going to get onto the surgeon and see if they can give me some plasma to fire in there and maybe promote some health. And we'll see how we go from that. But that's a couple of weeks away. That's going to be from the 6th of June. So, not great, not amazing, but there's still something maybe to cling on to somewhere that I might be able to get away with. But who knows? He said it's not gonna go away. That's the fact of the matter of it. It's not gonna go away. Yeah, which is crud. But in all honesty, I got to see my nan afterwards, and that was the plus point. I got to see my nan as well. Yeah, she made me a sandwich. She gave me a couple of cakes and a couple of cans of ginger beer as well. So I'm very happy. Can't go wrong with a couple of cans of ginger beer. Oh, favourite. And the thing is, my nan makes the best cheese sandwiches ever. She doesn't cook anymore or anything like that, but when it comes to a cheese sandwich, oh my days is she good. And the thing is, I never knew how she did it before until just recently. I kind of discovered exactly how she does do a cheese sandwich, and her secret way of doing it, like, it's just so basic. She puts pepper in it. Pepper in a cheese sandwich. No butter either. Amazing. Best cheese sandwiches ever. Quality. So yeah, I was there for a good few hours just to see my nanny, because I haven't seen her in a while, and we chatted about loads of things. Loads and loads of things. We're talking. Actually, to be fair, she was asking about YouTube and like what you could learn on YouTube and all this kind of thing, which I thought was really kind of cool, because I was able to show her a few things. I said to her, look, anything on YouTube, you can learn anything you like on YouTube. And she's like, oh, really? I said, yeah, name me something that you're interested in. And she said, flowers. I like flowers. I said, all right, let's put in how to do flower arranging. And we sat there for 5 minutes watching a video on how to do flower arranging. And from there, he said, what about crocheting? I said, I came top of the class in crocheting. I was really good at that. I was like, right, okay. So we watched a video on how to crochet flowers. Yeah, that's probably the weirdest YouTube thing I've ever watched. So yeah, watched a video on how to crochet flowers for her. Not that she's going to do any crocheting or any crocheting of flowers either. But that was quite funny. So yeah, she was all happy with that, and talking about YouTube and bits and pieces. And yeah, quite funny indeed. But then she started saying about, which it kind of worried me, but then she pulled it right back. So just as I was leaving, she was, I know it sounds a bit horrible to say, but you know, when you go, like, do you still want to be buried with me? And it kind of caught me by surprise, like, what, eh? I said, well, firstly, Nanny, I don't want to be buried, I want to be cremated, finished, because I can't think of anything worse than being in a cold, wet hole decomposing somewhere. So definitely not buried. I want to be cremated, and then I want to be sprinkled with my nanny, like just put in a little hole at the end of her grave or something, and that will do me, and I'll be put with my nanny. That will be how I want to go. She went, oh, okay. I said, why'd you ask? He went, well, if you don't tell people these things, then nobody knows. Like, okay. I said, he looking to off me or something like that? And then we got talking about like what she wants to happen and things like that. Like she wants to be buried in a slot that she's got bought up by the cemetery with the rest of her brother and her mum and her dad and all this kind of thing. I said, cool. I said, you're not sort of giving in or anything like that. You're not giving up, because obviously when you give up, that's when you go real quick. He said, no. It's like when you get to this age, you get a little bit down about it, because you've not really got long left, and it could happen at any time. I said, so you don't want to go then? She went, no, not at all. I want to live. I don't want to die. I said, that's good, because I need you. I need my nanny. I said, we might not talk for like a week or two or something like that, but I need my nanny. I need my nanny. Always need my nanny. And I said, I came into this world being held by my nanny, and I'm going to go out of this world in ashes next to my nanny. Simple as that. I need my nanny. So, yeah. But then we started talking about the time when she didn't fall off the bed, but she slid off the bed, and she couldn't get up for a couple of hours. I said, if only you'd got to the phone, or you had the phone with you, you could have rung me. And I was saying to Adam at the weekend, like, if I'd have known about that, there's not a door in this world that would have been kept on its hinges to stop me coming through that door to get her. Not at all. I said I would have run through brick to get through there and pick you up off the floor. There's just no way. And the thought of my nanny in distress is just horrific. And we was talking about like the cost of living and all this kind of thing, with like heating prices and all this kind of thing. I said, look, Nan, if you were sitting here in a coat with the heating off because you couldn't afford it, I would pay your heating. There is no way you would ever be cold or hungry under my watch. It just wouldn't happen. No way. I said, I would pay that in a heartbeat. I said, go stick the heating on, I'm paying for it. Don't care. So yeah. So even though it seems a bit miserable with what I spoke about with my nan there, it really wasn't. It was lovely. And I got to have a little cuddle with her, and we had some food and a chat and a couple of ginger beers, and yeah. Lovely to see my nanny. Lovely. So yeah, that kind of was a bit better than the hospital appointment. The clinic appointment that I had. So yeah. Not much I can do about it, I'm afraid. Not much I can do about it. So we'll see exactly what happens with that after the 6th of June. And yeah. I mean, it's going to be a little bit difficult this week as well with the football, because obviously I'm playing Friday, but then after finishing football at 8-9 o'clock on the Friday, it's an early kick-off on Saturday down in Margate. Margate. So we'll see how we go in terms of pain. I might have to really strap up and get a lot of painkillers into me to be able to operate at full for the Margate game. But then again, I might be sitting there going, actually, I feel in tip-top condition. I played last night. I'm still loose. I've not had time to set. I'm gonna play well. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see what we do on Friday first of all, and then we'll go from there. So a couple of jobs for me to do today. I've still got to go and do a little bit of food shopping. I've still got to go and buy a new tyre for the motor, because that is starting to get a little bit low there. I think a couple of 100 miles more and I will be under the grade. So definitely going to have to go and buy a new tyre there on the front right, I think it is. But if someone could do me a discount on all four, I might just replace all four rather than being out of whack for all of it. I don't know. I mean, I know it might be... Is it false economy if you go and get a used tyre? Is that false economy? Is it better to just go and get a new tyre for, say, 60 quid? Rather than a used one for 25 quid, 30 quid? But then you're paying half and getting half the time, half the distance. I don't know. I don't know what the logistics are on that. Don't know. I'm not sure how I would work that out. I don't know how I would quantify that, because obviously you do different miles all the time between journeys and things and different speeds or what have you. So I don't know. And obviously going around corners is going to be different to just going straight. That's one thing that I've wondered as well. Why is it that roads are all made out of tarmac when tarmac needs to be replaced every sort of 5, 6, 7 years? But if you did it in concrete, you're going to get 10, 15 years out of it. I mean, obviously it's more expensive to do concrete, but you get more time for it. So, is tarmac just a much cheaper option? Like, far, far more cheaper? I don't know. But you notice if you go around by sort of the airports, like if you go around by Heathrow, all of the motorways are in concrete. So clearly they know that that is a really busy section of motorway that they can't close off all the time to re-tarmac every sort of 5, 6, 7 years. So they're going to get 15, 20 years out of a bit of concrete. So wouldn't it be better to just do concrete on all of it? Surely. And you'll get a hell of a lot longer, and there'll be far less... there'd be far less traffic jams, but I know with concrete it would take a lot more time to dry, set and lay and all that kind of thing. But with tarmac, it's, well, the going off time is pretty quick, so maybe it is just a matter of money, and the tarmac is so much more cheaper and easier to use, because you can go tarmac, just lay it out, and you can do miles of it at a time, whereas concrete you probably have to do it in sort of 5-10 metre sections or something. Probably a lot more grief, if I'm honest. Now I'm thinking about it logically, it does seem better to do tarmac and get less years, but you'll be able to lay it a lot quicker. Probably for a lot less money as well. Yeah. Yeah. Don't know. Either way, funny. Madness, what comes to you in the side of your head, isn't it, really? Like when you're just left to your own devices, to just let your mind wander. It's amazing what you can come up with just as a random thought or a random question or a random idea or something. I mean, I've been racking my brains for literally weeks to try and figure out a business of my own, to try and open and run and put my heart and soul into. And I can do that. That's not a big issue. But to sit and talk to you guys with stuff coming off the top of my head, not an issue. Not an issue at all. I mean, I have always thought about doing radio shows that you farm off to radio stations for a payment. So I do know that when I was living in Spain, we used to buy a radio show that was edited so you could put adverts in, and it was by Pat Sharp, and it was called Totally 80s, I think it was, or Totally 90s, one of the two. I think it might have had both. And we used to pay a premium every month just to have his radio shows once a week, Totally 80s, Totally 90s, with his voice on it, to play out. And we had the license for that, and I'm not sure how much it was a month, maybe like €100 or something like that a month, 150 euros a month, which on the grand scheme of things isn't a lot. But if you've got, say, 10 radio stations doing that, all taking your show and playing it out, then that's £1,500 a month for just one radio show. And all you got to do is just literally get it out there. I don't know. I mean, it is a lot of effort to edit it and put it together and do a proper, well-produced radio show that people are going to want to listen to. It's going to be different every week. I mean, you could spend all week picking the music, devising your content, and going from there, and then just farming it out. But then you could put all of that together and no one will buy it because it's just not the right sound or something like that. Or, I mean, you could do a dance one. There must be loads of dance shows out there that you could do, but they're all done live by DJs on radio shows, and those DJs would do it for free as well rather than pay for it. So obviously radio stations aren't looking to spend money, they're looking to make money. So if they can get someone to come in and do it for free, which I'm sure there absolutely would be, then they would do that. I don't know. That was another thought of mine. It'd be nice to do all these things, just have loads of different, not sources of income, but loads of ways of expressing myself and being creative and fun. I suppose I could do a well-produced radio show for like YouTube or something like that, but then YouTube would shut it down because of the music. They go, it's copyright for the music. So you'd have to go somewhere else, like, I don't know. But even if you go to Spotify, you could get shut down for the music on there. I mean, I put a podcast out during lockdown, and the music on that got my podcast shut down because it was copyright. So you got to be really careful with the platform that you go on and what you actually do. I don't know. I just want to be very creative. I like to be creative. But it's difficult to be able to put those creative processes in place to be able to perform to the level that you want to perform. I guess my main outlet for creativity still is making the music. Still making the music, always making the music, and that's always going to be my thing. And like I said to you before in other previous episodes, you know, I would love to get out and DJ again, but to proper gigs, not like a wedding or a birthday or things like that, you know. A proper gig with the music that I want to play. But I just don't see that happening unless I put on my own parties, in which case you're taking a huge risk with a huge amount of money, and you don't even know if you're going to get those rewards back. And it, you know, that sort of thing for me isn't about making money. It's about having a fantastic show and putting on a great show with great music and great people behind it. Not how much money did we make, how many tickets can we sell. It's not about that. So maybe that's where I'm going wrong. It should be about the money. I don't really money's not really my focus when it comes to music. I don't make music to make money at all. I don't make music to be famous. I don't make music to do anything really other than express myself and enjoy myself making that music. So yeah. Just it. I mean, I'm working on an album right now, and I'm hoping that album will be a little bit more of substance than previous musics, and it's all going to be original content, no samples, no mixture of stuff. But then again, you know, I'm looking at other bits and pieces of what's going out at the moment, and there's just samples galore from everybody, all from old tracks they've already made, their own tracks they're sampling. You know, you look at, say, Swedish House Mafia did a track with The Weeknd called Moth to a Flame. They've blatantly sampled their own track, Leave the World Behind. And Leave the World Behind was blatantly sampled from a track that was remixed by Sebastian Ingrosso of the Swedish House Mafia. So they've literally plagiarized themselves 3 times and got one that was an okay success, one that was a pretty decent success, and one that was a very successful. But then if you're good enough to have a sample be reused like that all the time, then why not? I mean, another one of Swedish House Mafia tracks as well that they've sampled of themselves, they did a track for Monsters Inc., like the movie, and it was called Raw, R-O-A-R, Raw. And that has been sampled for their track that they made with The Weeknd. Their new, well, not their new track, but they did a new, like, alternative world remix of it as well, that sort of accentuated it a little bit more. And they basically plagiarised themselves on that track too. And I'm like, okay, so you're bringing out new music, you call it new music, but really all you've done is you've taken a sample that you've used before or made before and used it on new music. Now, I love what Fred Again is doing. Fred Again, some of his stuff is just out of this world. Like, pull me out of this. Oh, what a tune. What a tune. That's special. That track is special. Like, just everything about that song screams unreal. Screams unreal. the vocal, the melody, everything that's put together, sample, everything, the lot, just wonderful. But he's used sample from other tracks. You know, he's used hip hop artists to make them house. Just incredibly talented, but I can't believe the amount of work that he's done before he's come to prominence as Fred again. I forget what his last name. I think his last name is Wilson or something like that. But yeah, he's written for loads and loads and loads of well-known artists before he even got to be Fred again as everyone knows him now. Writing songs forever. You're like, Jesus, he's accredited for like almost a whole album of Ed Sheeran's. It's mental. Absolutely mental. And he did a video on his TikTok recreating Delilah, I think it was. And it's just the most beautiful piece of music I've ever heard in my entire life. And he's there creating it. And he's whacking his hand off a desk to make a beat. And it works. It fucking works. Like, man's an absolute genius in what he does. And like, he's just, oh yeah, I haven't played glockenspiel in years, but you know, I took a couple of months to learn it, and now I'm incorporating it into my music. And mental. You know, and I just wonder if I have that capacity to get that level of good. And I don't think I do. I don't think it's in there. Either you got it or you don't. And he's a natural talent at it. He's not worked at it. I think he's a natural talent at that. Just runs through his core at the very minimum. And he's just born to it. And then it makes you question yourself, you know, what was I actually born to do? What was I born to be part of? What runs through my core? And the answer is, I don't know. I don't know anymore. I used to think it was music. I used to think it was music. I used to think it was DJ, and I used to think it was production. I used to think it was everything about music. Turns out, I'm not all that special at it. Okay, I've learned some stuff, and I know some bits, and I'm all right at it. But I'm not that level of out of this world to affect anybody in terms of emotion or in terms of, I don't know. Have I ever affected anyone emotionally with my music? I don't know. Would you need to feel emotion yourself while you're making it to then feel that emotion come through the music? Or am I trying to be too regimented and to the same and not expand on what I know the rules to be? I don't know. Maybe I need to do and start exploring and finding that little bit of expansion maybe, and who knows. Questionable stuff, mate. Questionable stuff. I mean, when you're really getting deep and diving into it, what am I doing? Where am I going? Where have I been? How is my story going to continue? How is my story going to end? What is the meaning of everything that I've done and will continue to do and go through? Is any of it worth anything? Because at the end of the day, it's only worth something if somebody else thinks so. And if nobody thinks it's worth anything, and you don't think it's worth anything, then why would you? Why would you? I don't know. You know, and if those people that think it's worth something are suddenly not here, which means, you know, in say 20, 30 years when maybe all of those people that think it's worth something have died, is it still worth something? In which case it's only worth the time that it's in, unless you do something monumental that affects people way past your death. Way past your death. So, like leaving a legacy. And what could your legacy be? Not everyone can leave a legacy. Some people were born, they keep their head down, nobody knows them, they die, and that's it. Is that a life worth living? What's the value of a life? Can you put a value on life? Are some lives worth more than others because they lead it more meaningfully? And what do you define as meaningful? Some people would say that a meaningful life would be bringing up your kids in a good way. But then some people don't have kids, so how would they have a meaningful life if they don't have kids? Is their life still meaningful, or is it now meaningless? I mean, there's that question again. What is the meaning of life? I can't tell you. Does there have to be a meaning of life? Does there have to be a meaning for you? I don't know. Lots of very deep questions. Deep, dark questions. Some questions you might not like the answers to. Some questions might open up an enlightening sense inside. But what I don't feel is that religion is the way. That's definitely not the way. Because, in all honesty, I can't see that there is anything other than just this. There's no God or anything like that. But again, coming back to that type of thing, I heard a joke which was immense, really thought-provoking and very, very clever and very layered. And I believe it was Ricky Gervais who said it. He said, Holocaust survivor eventually dies, goes up to heaven and meets God. And once he meets God, he tells a Holocaust joke. And God says, that's not funny. And the Holocaust survivor says, I guess you had to be there. Now, that is funny, but you think of the layers on that. The layering is huge. So, when he says, I guess you had to be there, he's saying he doesn't believe that God was there because he let it happen. And if he is God, why wasn't he there? But also, why would you allow something like that to happen by not being there? Very clever. Very, very clever joke. Very clever. And I forget who he was telling it to. I did see it on a video. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Jerry Seinfeld, actually. I think it was Jerry Seinfeld, and Ricky Gervais was saying it to him, and Jerry Seinfeld just didn't get it. He didn't understand the cleverness behind it until Ricky Gervais actually explained it to him, which kind of makes sense, really, because Ricky is very clever. Very clever. But yeah, that was a joke that I like intelligent jokes like that. But a lot of people wouldn't find it funny because literally it's got Holocaust in it. You can't laugh about Holocaust. Yes, you can. You can laugh about Holocaust. As long as the context of the joke is aimed in the right way. Like just saying, oh yeah, Holocaust, people died. Ha ha, that's funny. It's not funny. But people find that they are, what's it called? They confuse the target of the joke with the subject of the joke. So you might be arguing, or you might be telling a joke about something, like say, I don't know, women's rights, say. And the target of the joke is a specific person, not women's rights. And people confuse the fact that you're targeting women's rights with an actual person, and that's where they get their anguish from. And you got to understand the joke first of all, but some people don't. So we're about 35 minutes into this episode. Thank you so much for joining me. We have a mere 4 minutes left until we are home and dry. If you would like extra content, of course, you can always head over to Patreon, and for just a mere £3 a month, 10p per day, you're able to purchase extra content, keep in touch with the podcast, be part of the revolution, and enjoy lots and lots of different bits and pieces on there, and soon to be a Discord channel as well, along with a bit of Twitch and some other bits and pieces also that you get all in part and parcel for your £3 a month. So head over there and do that. It's patreon.com/Riding Shotgun Podcast. Thank you so much. If you are watching, please do like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. That would be awesome if you could do that. A few people have already subscribed to the channel, so thank you so much for doing that. And some people have liked the video, some people have watched it and subscribed and done a notification bell and done it all. So thank them too. And I'd like you to do the same. If you are listening on any other platform, be that Amazon, be that Apple, be that Spotify, please do head over and just give me a 5-star review, as that is my preferential treatment from yourselves. But if not, then just say it honestly. Be honest. If you don't like it, say you don't like it and why you don't like it, because then I can make it better, and hopefully you'll come back and be like, actually, he listened, this is great, this is lovely. Or you might go, it's okay, needs to grow on me. Or you might go, this is fucking brilliant, I love it, 5 stars all the way. Either way, just be honest and put it out there and say, that's what I think. And that would be great. Thank you so very, very much. So thank you for joining me on Riding Shotgun Podcast today. The journey from my beautiful nanny after really shit results for the MRI all the way home. And hopefully this sunshine will come back out again after it's gone a bit grey, which is not good. And I think there might be a bit of rain on the way, which is terrible. So yeah. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hope you'll join me for the next episode. And, well, I'm going to love you all the same anyway. So, yeah. Okay. Take care. Love you. Bye-bye.